All right, let's head in and start our 14.2 work together. It is a two-step problem. We'll be journalizing first and then posting. So you can see that we have about 5 transactions we're going to be doing between November and December of the current year. It says we're going to journalize the transaction for Olson Company in our question assets that were completed during November and December. Please use page 15 of the general journal and page 24 of the cash receipts journal to complete these transactions. So I am going to put this into place so it's a little bit easier for us to see. It says our first transaction is on November 4th. We wrote off Mellon Corp's past due account as uncollectible for $494. So our first transaction, because we're writing it off, we're not doing anything with cash, is going to go in our general journal. So we come on down here and we put November 4th. And then we need to remember what is going to get the debit. In the situation where we're writing off something, it means it needs to come out of allowance for uncollectible accounts, and it also needs to come out of accounts receivable. So the debit actually goes to the allowance for uncollectible accounts, which has a normal allowance for uncollectible accounts. That has a normal credit balance, so that's getting debited for the full $494. And the credit actually goes to our accounts receivable and then / Mellon Corp for $494. Okay, so that's the first transaction. Then it says on the 15th of November, we also wrote off Hornco's past due account as uncollectible. So again, it's going to look very similar except that the date and our numbers are different. So we put the 15th. We don't have to put November again. Again, because we're writing it off, it needs to come out of the allowance for uncollectible accounts. M147, $1,548 is our amount. And then it is going to be credited, accounts receivable / Hornco, because that is also being reduced by the $1,548. Now, it says we move into December. On December 8th, we received cash in full payment of Mellon Corp's account, which was previously written off as uncollectible, $494. Now, please note that we have two separate source documents. One is for the transaction that we use to reopen this account, and the second one is to record the receipt of actual cash. So remember, to reopen the account, that one goes in our general journal. So I'm going to come down here. Because we moved into a new month, I do need to put December and the 8th. And then again, I need you to think what happens when we reopen the account. Well, essentially, it's going to be the exact, we're just flip-flopping this transaction. So accounts receivable in Mellon Corp will go up with a debit, and allowance for uncollectible accounts will also go up with a credit. So we're just essentially flipping that one. So we put accounts receivable, Mellon Corp, M158, and the full amount is $494. And then our credit goes to the allowance for uncollectible accounts. Again, credit of $494. Now, before we go on, I don't want you to forget that you also have to record this in cash receipts. So I'm going to go down, scroll down to my cash receipts journal, and plug in the December 8th transaction. Remember, what goes in the account title is the name of our customer account, which for us happens to be Mellon Corp for this situation. Our document number for this one, of course, is R341, which is our receipt. And then we go all the way over to the accounts receivable credit. So remember that this $494 credit is actually going to accounts receivable and Mellon Corp. And then our debit is for cash for the $494 to show that they did indeed pay us that amount. Okay. Then we go back up. It says December 14th, we wrote off Fisher Industries past due account as uncollectible, $1,360. Just remember, we tend to, we hope we never have to write off accounts, but if we do, it's usually past that 90-day mark. So these people have not paid us for 90 days or 3 months' time. So at that point, it's time for us to think serious about whether or not we're going to get that money. Because we're still in December, we can just do the 14th. And then again, because we're writing it off, this is where we start with the allowance for uncollectible accounts, M161, and that's $1,360. And then our credit goes to accounts receivable / Fisher Industries, 1360. And then on December 16th, it says we received cash in full payment of Horn Company's account, previously written off as uncollectible, $1,548. Again, has two source documents, M169 and R349. So again, at this point, we need to do two transactions. The first one is to reopen Horn & Company's account, and the second is to record the receipt of cash. So on the 16th in our general journal, what we're doing is we're reopening the account, which means we need to debit accounts receivable / Horn Company, M169, and the amount is the 1,548. And then our credit goes to the allowance for uncollectible accounts, 1,548. And then we head down to cash receipts. All we need to do is plug in the 16th. Again, our account title is for our customer. So our customer in this situation is Horn Company, R349. Oops. And then we go over to accounts receivable. This amount, remember, the 1,548 is being credited both to accounts receivable and to Horn & Company. It's just like it would look right up here, except that we don't have the opportunity, like we do in the general journal, to do the / because accounts receivable has a special amount column. And then, of course, we debit cash because we did receive it for the 1,548. So at this point, we're ready to head on to our step number 2. So we'll head over there. Okay, so in step 2, what we're going to do is post our general journal entries and our cash receipt journal lines to the general ledger and the accounts receivable ledger. And we will not have to make any entries to the item columns of the ledgers, which, as I said, in Applia, you don't have to write written off and reopen. It's just a good idea that you know that that's what we would normally do. Applia chooses not to, but it's important to note that that would be something we would consider. So now we're down and we're ready to start posting. So we're starting on November 4th with our allowance for uncollectible accounts. So we open up allowance for uncollectible accounts. This is on the 4th. It's coming from G12, I believe. Nope, G15. And it is a debit for $494, which means that we are subtracting 3,158 and subtracting the $494, and we get a new balance of $2,664.47. And then we bring our account number, which is 1135, back up into our post reference column. Then we go to accounts receivable. On accounts receivable, we put the 4th, G15. This is a credit for $494. So again, at this situation, we are subtracting. We take $35,148.85 and subtract out $494. And our updated balance is $34,654.85. And we take our account number, which is 1130. We come up here. This is the one where you need to put the /. Now we're not done yet because we also need to send that $494 to Mellon Corp. So we come down to Mellon Corp. We open up on the 4th. This is coming from G15. Again, it's a credit for $494. So at this point, we would be zeroed out. This is where I'm saying you do not need to write written off right here, but it would be a good idea to, because that's what you've just done, is you've closed out that account because we believe that that person is never going to pay us. And then we come back up and we put 130 in the post reference column. Next up on November 15th is our allowance for uncollectible accounts, again, because we are writing off another account. So we have the 15th, G15, it's another debit. I believe this is the 1548. Yes. So again, we're subtracting this time. We take 2,664 and 47 cents, and we subtract 1,548, and we get a balance of $1,116.47. And we come back up and put our account number in. And then we need to do the same for accounts receivable and Horn Company. So we open up accounts receivable. And we subtract that out. 34,654.85 and subtract 1,548, and our updated balance in accounts receivable is $33,106.85. And again, we come up and put our account number. Oops, make sure you're getting it in the right line, unlike me. Then we have to remember that this is also going to Horn Company. So we go down to our accounts receivable ledger. On the 15th, we go G15. This is a credit for the 1,548. And again, you're going to be zeroed out there. So we bring up our account number 120 right up there. Now on the December 8th one, let's remember that this is the one where Mellon Corp actually pays us. So what we're doing is we're reopening this account. So we come down and we're going to debit accounts receivable first. So this is on December 8th, so you do need to write December because you switch months, okay? And this is $494, and then because it's a debit this time, we're actually adding. So we take our $33,106.85, and we add $494, and we go up to $33,600.85. And we come back up and we put account number in there, and then we also need to do the same thing to Mellon Corp. So we come down to Mellon Corp, we put December 8th, again because we switched months, we're debiting $494, which brings our balance back up to that $494. And then we have $130 going in as our account number for Mellon Corp. And then let's do our allowance for uncollectible accounts. So we go back down to our accounts receivable, or general ledger, excuse me, again, December 8th. This is G15, and this is getting a credit for $494. So again, we're adding. We take $494 plus $1,116.47, and our updated balance is $1,610.47. And we take our account number and plug that right back in there. Now, at this point, you could continue on with your general journal. For the sake of making sure we understand what's happening, I'm also going to record the fact that Mellon Corp here actually paid us. So with the December 8th transaction here, in our cash receipts journal, we're going to post just to Mellon Corp. So we come down here to Mellon Corp, and again, it's the 8th, except this time it's cash receipts CR24 because we're on cash receipts journal number 24, and this is getting credited for $494. So what's happening here is, again, it looks like they have paid us, and at this point, again, this would normally say written off, and this would say reopen, so now we know that they did actually pay us because it's coming from our cash receipts journal. And then we just put our account number, which is 130, right up there. Remember that we don't actually post this to accounts receivable until we get to the very end, and we do that as a total, but this Applia problem isn't actually asking us to do that. So to finish off the rest of the posting, I am going to have to start a second video just because I'm going to run out of time on this one, so I will meet you over